What's up, party people? Welcome into this web edition of No Pulp alongside Corey Spector. I'm AJ Fabbri, and after 5 rounds of March Madness and 66 games of absolute chaos, only 2 teams remain. Virginia took down Auburn last night after Kyle Guy sunk all 3 free throws with 0.6 seconds left in the first semifinal. Then Texas Tech's Matt Mooney drilled 4 3-pointers as Texas Tech took down Michigan State in the nightcap, setting up a defensive battle in the national title game. So, Corey, what are your keys to this final game in the college basketball season?
Well, the first and foremost one is how well Texas Tech defends the three-point line. Texas Tech has been really good this year at doing so, 10th in the country at defending the three-point line. Opponents shoot under 30%, but Virginia is so efficient on offense. They might not have the most flashy plays on offense, but they're efficient from beyond the arc, 39%. That's 7th in the entire nation. And look, you know what you're going to get from DeAndre Hunter. You know what you're going to get from Kyle Guy. He makes contested threes. Ty Jerome, Kihei Clark, all of these players are so talented from beyond the arc. Texas Tech has to shut them down from downtown.
Yeah, we know how good Texas Tech is defensively. Really been a historic run for them in March. But
so much length from the outside.
But my key for this game is for Virginia to avoid those scoring droughts. I mean, you look at that game against Auburn, the final 5 minutes of that ball game, Virginia didn't hit a single field goal. They just shot free throws, and they almost completely blew that game to Auburn. And then, if you look at those games that Virginia lost in the regular season, they went on scoring droughts. There were 2 or 3 times. They would just go on scoring droughts against Duke. They went on a 5-minute scoring drought against Florida State in the ACC semifinal. They went on a 5-minute scoring drought that cost them the game. They have to be able to consistently put the ball in the basket. They're so efficient on offense. They like to slow things down. But if they don't take advantage of those lesser possessions they have, they're going to be in trouble against the Red Raiders.
Virginia's so predicated on the three-point line on offense. AJ, when you dissect this game even further, though, it's pretty interesting to note that there are no 5-star recruits on either side. David Moretti is the only 4-star recruit in the Texas Tech starting 5. Virginia has a few 4-stars. In your mind, though, which individual player is the X factor in this one?
So I'm really going out on a limb with this one. My X factor in this game, Jarrett Culver.
Oh, the best player on the team.
The best player on the team. But if you look at Jarrett Culver and what he does, he is so important for this Texas Tech team. I know he only had 10 points in the national semifinal, but if you look at 2 of Virginia's 3 losses this year, they came to Duke. You know who's on Duke? A guy named Zion Williamson, the best
no
player.
longer. He's
the best player, but he was the best player on Duke, the best player in the country. And he is very similar to what Jarrett Culver does for this Red Raiders team. They're both in that power forward slot. Slashers, they like to take the ball from the perimeter, get to the hole, get to the rack, and put in easy buckets. And that's exactly what Jarrett Culver can do for this Texas Tech team. And Virginia has shown that they are vulnerable to big, athletic, freak type of players. And that's exactly what Culver gives the Red Raiders. I think that's what gives them the advantage in this.
Yeah, and they can't rely on Matt Mooney to be their leading scorer. Jarrett Culver, if he is the best player for Texas Tech, absolutely, he needs to be the best player in this game for Texas Tech. I'll go to the other side with Virginia, and I talked about Hunter, Guy, Jerome, and Clark. The 5th starter, Mamadi Diakite, has to play big in this one. He was the only starter not in double digits against Auburn, probably the reason why that game was so close. He only scored 2 points in that one. And look, Virginia is not a very deep team. They're not going to bring a ton of guys off the bench. Jack Salt is really the only notable coming off the bench, and he's not a talented scorer on offense. And Texas Tech, like I mentioned before, a lot of size. So if Diakite can bring that size outside and be a threat from maybe 18 feet, maybe even 3-point range a little bit, he becomes an important player, opens up a little 5-wide set for Virginia on the offensive side. So if Diakite plays well, I think Virginia has a good shot in this one.
Yeah, he's so athletic, and I love those golden hair that he has.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Fantastic.
I'm thinking about dyeing mine.
I don't know. Not
Don't
such
do
a
it?
great look. No. Okay. Moving on here, Texas Tech has put the clamps down on absolutely everyone this March in one of the most impressive defensive performances in tournament history. They're giving up around just 55 points per game in the tourney. Meanwhile, Virginia has consistently been a defensive stalwart in the college game. Corey, is this showdown evidence that defense is going to be the focal point of college basketball moving forward?
Well, AJ, it's interesting because 3 of the 4 Final Four teams were inside the top 10 in defensive efficiency, and Texas Tech is the best defense in just about 18, 20 years, best according to Ken Palm in terms of efficiency. But would I say it's a trend? I'm hesitant to go there because Villanova last year was so highly prolific on offense. They made 464 three-pointers. That was a record for that Nova team. And look, this game always awards offense. It always shows that in the end, the officials, the fans, everyone wants more points. That's why the officials put these guys on the line so much, and defenses are not allowed to play as tight as they once were. I don't expect this to be a trend, but it is interesting to note going forward.
Yeah, 16 of the last 17 national champions have been inside the top 20 in both defensive and offensive.
So you need a good team.
You need a good team. You have to be balanced. You have to be able to score and defend. So it's not a trend defensively, but you have to be well versed on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, when you look at these two teams and the 4 semifinal teams as well, each of these squads don't really feature a true one-and-done player. Obviously, the attention this season was largely focused on Zion and Barrett and Reddish at Duke, Bol at Oregon. With all those freshman phenoms out of the tournament, should we anticipate more championship teams featuring veteran rosters?
I think that is the absolute answer. It's veteran leadership. I know everyone likes to jump on the hype bandwagons, and make no mistake about it, Duke was a fantastic team this year, probably one of the most talented teams we've ever seen. But again, they were so young, and against a Michigan State team that was senior laden, Cassius Winston, a guy who's been there before, he took them down. And you look at these teams that are in the national championship right now. Texas Tech has a lot of veteran leadership. And then you look on the other side, Virginia, Kyle Guy, Ty Jerome, DeAndre Hunter, they've all been there before. So those veteran leaders are huge in March Madness. Obviously, you need talent, but you need those guys to rely on. And I don't think the one and done is really working in the larger college basketball landscape when it comes to winning titles.
Right, and I think the model team this year, when you talk about leadership and talent and explosiveness, I think it was North Carolina. I know they lost in the Sweet 16, but when you have guys like Nasir Little, when you have guys like Kobe White at those freshman spots, and then you have Luke May to supplement that sort of athletic talent, I think that's the key for these teams going forward. Young players that are really good, and then those veteran leaders that are crafty as well.
All right, now that all the talking is done, we're going to give you some picks. Both of these teams are appearing in national title games for the first time ever. Lots of expectations for the Hoos, but Texas Tech has been so consistent all tournament. Corey, who do you got and why?
Yeah, look, Texas Tech and Virginia are so close on defense, and I understand Texas Tech is historically great on defense, but I think Virginia brings more offense to the table than Texas Tech does. I'm going to take UVA 51-52 in a close game, free throws at the end, maybe separated a little bit at the end. Virginia, again, a full circle ending from last year's loss to UMBC. Tony Bennett, he's very handsome. He has hair like you, very charming. So give me Virginia in a tight one.
Yeah, I like the Hoos too. I mean, like we said, Texas Tech, they're not just too happy to be there. They are a great team, but I think Virginia, like you said, team of destiny. You got a guy like Kyle Guy, Ty Jerome. They run the show offensively. You said it earlier. Kyle Guy can hit shots from anywhere on the court, no matter who's guarding him. And sometimes good offense just beats good defense. I like Virginia 65-60. Going to be a low-scoring affair like we all thought it would be, but I like Virginia, just that senior laden, that veteran leadership is going to pull them through, but it should be a really good one tomorrow night.
All right, so that's the Final Four. How about the Frozen Four? Let's go to the
chilly.
ice. Let's go to the ice. Let's do it, baby. Denver and UMass in the first semifinal of the Frozen Four. Who do you have?
Give me UMass. Cale Makar, Hobie Baker Award finalist. UMass 30-9 overall. Give me the Minutemen. I love them.
Makar and Jacob Pritchard. Give me UMass as well.
All right, we'll move to the other side of the bracket now. Providence, in New England, and then Minnesota Duluth out in the Midwest. Who you got the other side?
Yeah, Minnesota Duluth looking to return to the championship game for the third consecutive year. That hasn't happened since Boston College did it in 06 through 08. Give me Minnesota Duluth. I like this one.
Good one. Good call.
You?
I got to go Providence. Listen, I'm a New England guy.
Yeah.
I got to go with PC in this
Okay, next one. Duke, Virginia. We're going to go to men's lacrosse now. Duke, Virginia. Who do you have? ACC showdown.
I got to go with UVA here. The Who's here, winners of 8 straight. They are coming in hot. We're going to stay with Lax here. Notre Dame, Cornell, and a big one. Who do you got on the students?
Jeff Teat, Clark Peterson, John Piatelli. That attack is too talented. Give me the Big Red.
Okay, Big Red over the Irish.
Yes.
Interesting call there. That's all the time we have here on this web edition of No Pulp. For Corey Spector, I'm AJ Fabbri. We appreciate you tuning in. Everybody enjoy that national championship game on Monday night.